Hey guys, what's up? My name is Victavia, aka Graceless Beauty. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 most binge-worthy Netflix shows to watch for this summer, for 2019. Alright, so this is actually my first video that I wanted to do. I think it'll be a cool warm-up and then you guys can kind of get to know me through some of the shows I like to watch. So here's my top 10 Netflix shows to binge this summer. For all 10 of these shows, I will just give a quick little synopsis and why I like the show so much without giving away too much. For the first show, I chose Bojack Horseman. It follows Bojack, who is like a washed up sitcom 90s star basically, but he's actually a horse, and in this world animals and people all intertwine, and it's a cartoon. It's really cool, but I really enjoyed this show because I really didn't know what to expect. Besides, it has Will Arnett in it, and I'm a huge fan. But in the show, what I like the most is that it is animated, but it's able to touch on deeper and darker topics of like personalities and the struggles of just being alive. So I think it's cool. It's also really funny, and you can learn a lot about, I think I learned a lot about myself just watching that show. But yeah, it's an animated show, and the way that they tell stories is just so interesting, and it's very much worth a shot because I haven't seen anything quite like it before. So for my second show, I chose Atypical. Atypical follows a 18-year-old young man who's still in high school, but he's actually on the autism spectrum. And it shows him trying to live a little bit more of a normal teenage life when he decides that he wants to have a girlfriend. I like the show because it talks about something that isn't tackled too much in Hollywood. I also like the show because it shows not only his perspective, but it shows what the family goes through and trying to make sure he has the most quality life. It's really cool, he has a normal high school life for the most part, and he has a job, and there's a whole bunch of other aspects to him that I think is so interesting. The first time I really learned about being on the spectrum, showing a character outside of the stereotypical thing of what we think of being on autism spectrum is Parenthood, which is also on my list. So Parenthood is my third choice, and Parenthood is actually not a Netflix original. The first two were Netflix originals, but Parenthood is it was an NBC show, but all 6 seasons completed are on there, so it's perfect. It's a perfect show to binge if you like This Is Us and you like family dramas and just interesting, funny shows that make you feel something and then just show you like humanity and it's just so well written. It's one of my favorite drama shows that I've ever seen, and I actually didn't get into it until I saw it on Netflix. When I was taking one of my screenwriting classes. It was recommended to me, and I really, really just enjoyed it so much because I never felt so much for a show so quickly. Besides This Is Us, actually. It's just a really good show, and I don't know how many people actually watched it because I caught on to it towards the end of it. It was the last season when I started watching it, but I finished the whole series on Netflix. But I like that show because it just follows this large family and then all the different struggles they go through. And it reminds me a lot of This Is Us before its time, but it's special in its own way. So my fourth choice is Dead to Me. Dead to Me stars Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini, who was on Freaks and Geeks, which I also love Freaks and Geeks. But Christina Applegate is actually a recent widower, and she goes to this grievance group and meets Linda Cardellini's character, who's really strange, but you learn that there's more to her husband's death, and it's just such a fun show to watch. It tackles like death and like coping with grieving and all that, but it also deals with friendship and betrayal and like just weird. It's just so interesting, and the comedy is so funny to me. There's so many points where I was like, this is so weird, but it's like refreshing and cool, and I actually really liked how the characters interacted. It was one of my favorite Netflix shows to watch that was newer for 2019. It was a newer show. It's 1 season. It's a lot of fun. You should check that show out as well. Okay, so a lot of people might have been talking about this show. My next choice is You. You stars Gossip Girl. Just kidding. But yeah, You basically follows this bookstore keeper who falls in love with one of his customers and becomes deeply obsessive. And you find out through his point of view mostly that like what it's like to be in someone's brain who isn't all there, and how you can see how someone who is basically seen as bad to society thinks from his perspective. It's really cool, and I actually was like really weirded out by the show at first, but then it was a little creepy, but it was just so interesting that I had to finish it. I wasn't sure how to feel about the show, but I definitely recommend You if you like thriller kind of shows, and it kind of just deals with like someone who's just not all there, who becomes obsessive, and you're not sure if you should be rooting for him or not. And even when you decide you shouldn't be rooting for him, you still have this empathy towards him. So I felt like that's a really interesting show to watch. So for the next show, I chose Russian Doll, which stars Natasha Lyonne. For this show, I really enjoyed it because it's like a modern day Groundhog's Day, and she tries to figure out why she keeps dying on her birthday. And through this, you discover there's more to it. She may or may not be alone in her experience. I really like this show because it shows a woman who kind of just doesn't care about anything, and it's funny. Yeah. For the next show, I chose Love, Death, and Robots. It's a collection of animated short stories, and each episode it's its own story. I think there's like 30 of them, but none of them are more than like 20 minutes. Each of them are about 9 to 15 minutes. I liked it because of all the different art and how the stories were so different from each other. And a lot of the stories just end and you're like, wow. And then you see the next one and you're like, what? Everyone is so different and so unique. And I really enjoyed watching that show. If you really like art and stuff like that, I highly recommend it. So the next show I chose was on My Block. My Block is like a coming of age story in this fictionalized gangland, like LA area. And I like the show because it follows these teenagers, you know, just trying to get through high school, but they have this obstacle because they're in this gangland area. But the way they use humor and the way they have the serious moments, there's like a good balance, and for whatever reason they just nailed it to me. And I really love it because I haven't had laughs like that. Like, that show actually has made me laugh out loud in a way that not many shows have. For its own, it just has its own unique style, and I just love the characters so much. I really do. The next show I chose is not a Netflix original, but it's one of my favorite shows, like really one of my favorite shows since it came out, and it's called Jane the Virgin. They're actually on season 5 right now, and they're airing season 5 on CW, but they have the first 4 seasons on there, and I highly recommend watching the show. It's about like this like hardcore Catholic girl who gets accidentally artificially inseminated, and it's like a whole like Virgin Mary type of story, but it's modern day, and it's so interesting, and the characters are hilarious, and it's like a telenovela, but I don't know, if you liked Ugly Betty, I think you like this too. It's a lot different than Ugly Betty, but it just makes me think of that, and I love that show so much. But yeah, Jane the Virgin, I like it because it's just so well written. And Jane, like Gina Rodriguez kills Jane. She is great. Like, I fell in love with her, and she actually won a Golden Globe her first season, so that's a reason to check it out. I think she is amazing in it. The characters, the stories, and like, I love it because there's so much change. Like, you can see all the change from season to season. Every character changed so much, and there's some things that you won't even believe could be possible from the first season to like even the third season. It's so great, and I love the character development in that show. I highly, highly, highly recommend Jane the Virgin. One of my favorite shows of all time. Okay, for the next one, and I think the final one, is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was also a CW show. I actually watched it when it aired because they would mention my hometown, and I was like, I gotta watch it just because I saw like B-roll of nearby, and I was like, okay. And I ended up watching it and being blown away. So I like it. It's a musical, and it's like a comedy drama, and it tackles so many different topics. And like Jane the Virgin, you won't even believe where the characters start to where they end. There's like so many different arcs of growth and development, and like all the characters are so different from when they started. I actually just, I liked it so much because the way that they dived into like mental health issues, and like they even talk about sexuality, they talk about just what it means to be a person dealing with the obstacles that a lot of us are dealing with right now, but they make it fun, and they write these amazing songs that are so silly. Most of the time they're so silly, but they're still like relatable and fun. This bird, what's happening? Fun fact, I'm not a huge fan of birds. I saw the film Birds when I was like very young, and for some reason I'm traumatized. So yeah, that's one fun fact. I should do that in every video. But I hope you enjoyed my video. Please leave comments below and let me know like what are your favorite shows to watch on Netflix, if you have any favorite movies to watch, or maybe I should do that for my next video. For now, I'm just seeing how it goes, and I'm just gonna film a few videos a week and go from there. Thank you guys so much if you made it this far. I really appreciate it, and get ready for more videos every week. Oh, don't forget guys, please subscribe for more videos and hit that notification bell so that you can see my next videos and see my growth on this channel. I have a lot of ideas, and I just wanted to kind of get the jitters out and do something really quick. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to comment and tell me what shows you love to binge or you recommend to binge. Because I'm a rewatcher. I don't know if you guys are, but I love to rewatch shows. So let me know. And yeah, I'll see you next time on my next video. Okie doke. Oh no. Oh no. The next show I chose was Love, Sex. Not Love, Sex. Okay, I just wanted to see. Calling me. It's my mom. Awesome.